The subject of this podcast is, what am I talking about? In the sense of, what do you mean? What the whole everyone's been forced in to a realization point, and so what do I mean by that? Something that was there definitions. So I'm going to explain more about the relationship between our thoughts and the morphic field, and so that then you get a clear understanding of what I mean when. So if I'm talking about, am I talking about something in our mind, or something more physical outside our mind? And how could, because it's a good question, how could everyone be forced into a realization or something like that? Because surely some people, we have our own minds, so, and if we have our own minds, then we are sort of in full control. We have 100%. But so yeah, so what is our mind, and what do we think is our mind? And if that is important, because what we think is our mind could be the very concept that is like, but we so yeah. So what is in our minds, and what affects our minds, and what causes us to think reality is a certain way, and we perceive reality in a certain way, and that is based on our mind and our physical reality, and that the combination of those two things so there's a physical part of what we thought our reality that changed and forced us to reassess our world as mind and physical, but the physical changed such that the mind was forced to recognise that. So and it if certainly it's our mental, our mind, our how you want to define the mind is different for different people. And how that relationship between physical, mental, consciousness there is no perception of reality without our minds. The way that we experience because we perceive them. And also the reality that we perceive the dreamlike nature has become more apparent. It's interesting to sort of analyse, and one of those things where it's both certain and ineffable. It also phases that so when the thoughts that the mind body they yeah, so it's there. What I suppose, but what do you want? What people should people know? What is useful? Is that, as I said before, it's the old habitual energy patterns which are in a sense physical because we have is energetic and it holds potential, and it will take time to discharge. Something charged in a certain pattern over an extended period of time won't suddenly disappear, regardless of our but as Einstein said, I think it's Einstein, if you don't look at the moon it will disappear. It is that concept that once the old thinking patterns stop being used, they disappear or they dissolve. If everyone is now that this science gives clues to, I personally like Rupert Sheldrake, as the way that Rupert Sheldrake brings a solution that fits very well with current science and the idea of the morphic field. I recommend listening to Rupert Sheldrake talk about the morphic field. It's simply that we all contribute to by doing something over and over again, then we leave a sort of track to make it easier for other people to do it over again. So like, if I was the first person ever to ride a bike, then the more I rode my bike, the easier it would be for others to then ride the bike. That is something that you just check out the morphic field, and it helps explain how the there's a terrible because our inner mind, or we might call our memory or our brains, or the way we receive and engage in information, talking, thinking, the feeling that it's kind of always, it's easier to do the things that the other people are doing, and it's harder to do things that are different to the other people. In fact, like most people, and that is so that's useful to know, to think of that and then go, oh, so the old ways of thinking will be much easier and the new ones will be harder. But the more we do the new, the more we create these new ways of thinking, and lots of people have been working hard to do that, the easier it becomes for everyone to. Do you know what I mean? So the world was, everyone can help each other by thinking in a less restricted, more free way. In those times where you're able to embrace the new freedom, because there might be a feeling a bit like sort of things are a chaos, and a sense of disturbance from on a bigger level than you might normally have had. Like at Christmas, there's this jolly spirit that seems to be quite nice because people are giving, thinking about others. But in the same way, when there's negative and chaos, then that also becomes heavy, and you get drawn into it, which is difficult because our lives are pragmatically necessarily involved in the world, and we will have to be tied up in that somehow, and then there will be a and where it's difficult. I don't know how, but so what has happened? The there's I mean, it's I can't say 100% for sure, but I know what happened for me, but what happens for everyone might be different, especially labelled differently. But essentially, the old certainties aren't there to hold on to, and when you do hold on to one of those concepts, you'll find yourself also tumbling as those concepts are detached from what used to be a larger, more interconnected, stable, energetic pattern. It's all broken and fragmented, and that distorts and like a kaleidoscope, like seeing like the world's like how the what used to be there energy wise is now a kaleidoscope of that energy displaced and finding its ski-whiff. It's all going ski-whiff. But that's it really. So listen to watch Rupert Sheldrake, because you can really, there's a very useful concept, and it's one of those where it slots in very well with our understanding of science and so forth. It's not just it has had provable there's been experiments, blah blah blah, but then it just makes more sense than other. So it makes sense and helps from a sort of more actually proper understanding level, because we have to understand that we create things together, and something that is now broken, that we created together, just because, and so, but it's good. It helps to understand thinking. Thinking it creates potential, and our minds are more like, our memories are the morphic field is not contingent on space in the way we think, and it's not. It's certainly not just in our brains, and that's how. And the evolving, the human race can work together to evolve with their thoughts, the positive thoughts, and that it's something that is wider then it's not something just for us. Everyone contributes, and then the power of thoughts, is now more important. It was important before. I don't know, but yeah, it's so we create the world with our thoughts, and we're not just doing it in our heads.